Hello and welcome to my pyro POV. This is cardboard match on CP Steel, UGC Highlander Steel.
30 seconds.
I don't know. There's obviously running detonator on steel is pretty good. It lets you do some jumps. You can also do the jump onto E with the power jack, but I don't like it that much. You have to go from the right direction, and it's a bit of a tight jump. It's not too bad though. But the detonator is actually pretty good on this map.
2, 1.
And so I'm gonna run it for both offense and defense, I think. Yeah, checking a common spy spot there, and then there's also the bush there that they can commonly hide in, the spy. But with us coming through the top there, it's not too much danger anyways. But it's still good to just check and know where the spy is. Okay, and the scout looked suspicious, and it was the spy before, I think. Alright, so now we're talking about going drop down or through E. That was pretty good. We put a lot of people onto going A. Didn't do much testing on B. Alright, so we're going to go through E towards B. Yeah, their spy gets our heavy there, but not much I can do. And I'm trying to... That's a kind of a tricky situation. I want to get the heavy to overcommit so I can air blast him out of position. But he kind of holds his place. And I can't overcommit either, because then their pyro will take advantage of me. Alright, so now that tele kind of takes me towards drop down, so I'm going towards it, but our combo kind of is still using EB. And I was just off my flares so much. I mean my reflex. Alright, and now our combo isn't rotating towards the straight push to B, so I'm going to try and meet them up in E. And now, because we dropped numbers, it's just about making sure we can more or less get out. Right now, and this is the great thing about the detonator in this case, is that the sniper can kind of hide around a lot of corners, but you know, with the explosion, it's not hiding anymore. Alright, and now I kind of think the spy's probably around here. In any case, I need to be careful for the med. So I'm kind of doing a look there, and yeah, there I see him, obviously from the and there again, detonator is like, there are so many kind of little corners on this map. Well, I mean, they're on a lot of maps, but with the jump, you can really take advantage of a lot of things. Like the little corners to get detonator damage out. Kind of went in too hard there. I thought we were going to push it together, but I went in too early. Alright, but it looks like a pretty good push overall, even though I wasn't there for it. Kind of did more of a slowish push, and it worked. Alright, so I'm kind of looking for the spy. Steel's kind of a funny map in that you can actually, like, if you overcommit to a defense, it's not that bad, because it forces the delays between, like, directly going from one point to another. Like the door is opening, it stalls out the offensive team. So like, overcommitting on a defense isn't punished that much. Alright, now we have Uber, but it doesn't look like we're going to just push. Oh yeah, no, now we go with it. So we gotta get the gun here. I'm mostly taking the demo in with that, that's good, and I can just kind of hold their demo and medic in place. No damage. I could have gone in with the power jack on the demo maybe, but then that's about reaction times, and it was just safer to keep the flame on him. But once again, that was pretty good push. Just used the Uber, took the gun. They countered, but I was able to contain them. Alright, so their combo's kind of holding more towards the D side of that little hull. And, well, now we get the Uber. So now we're going to talk about using it to get D. And you can kind of go straight for E after getting C, but it also looks like we can just kind of do this one at a time and make this easy. Alright, so they kind of wrap around us, but I don't know if they had Uber or not. I didn't really remember. Okay, yeah, there I got the reflect, but it hits are heavy, and so I die from the damage.
Additional time has been awarded.
It was kind of unfortunate that it just comes in front of me right at that point. Otherwise, I would have survived for sure. Okay, but now they got E, so I go straight for E. Sorry, they got D, so I go straight for D, E, and I can kind of trying to just air blast them a bit. I don't have E bound to medic. I use that for switching to my secondary, so I have to do the Z1 to call medic, which is a little harder than just hitting him. So I tried to do that to get his attention, but didn't quite work. So now I'm just trying to kind of hold them off and let our team cap. But they probably did a good job there. I wasn't quite respectful of the cliff. And so the med's there, so I let him take the telly. And it's a good thing that, you know, Danny told me the sentry was there. Otherwise I would have taken a lot of damage from it. But, oh well. So, 7 minutes, 30. It's like not, it's decent. It's like we pushed well for each point, but you can cut a lot of time by just going more directly to E. Depending on how your team plays, like sometimes when people will put the sentry on B and then the pyro, like I could say with the sentry, you know, it's decent as a hold. But we decided to build a sentry on A. We kind of changed our minds last minute on that one. So I suicided in the wrong place.
Mission begins in 10 seconds.
So because the sentry and the combo are both on A, I'm going to stick with A.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And our med knows their spy. They used to play together, so yeah, they're having fun. Okay, and so we catch up the spy, but he's gonna come back soon. Right, and Joe called out that they have a crits, and so we're just kind of expecting them to use the crits, and then we want to pop right away when they use it. And you know, it's super important to keep the sentry up there. So it's a good, like, that's why their soldiers running that direct hit probably. And Torn gets bursted down by the flame flare combo. So then they just crits into us.
The control point is being captured.
The other thing that kind of delayed our pushing was that we kind of Ubered onto A for no real reason. Because they had very little there, we could have just dropped down and took it more or less. And because they were really set up on B. So we kind of had to build up an Uber again. But, I don't know, it wasn't that bad. Because you're kind of delayed anyways in pushing towards B. But it saves you time for sure. If you can, you know, just take A right away. So now we're white basically. They take A. I kind of suicided a bit to try and get the heavy there. More or less worked, but we kind of white. But this is what I'm saying about, you know, being delayed on process and pushing points. Alright, so now I know their NG and Sniper are there. So I'm just trying to put out a lot of deaths so that they don't feel safe peeking. So now the pyro's there, so I'm just going to kind of wait for him. Because that's all I can do. Which is pretty effective as it works out. Holding in the kind of this elbow BE connector. Okay, they crits. I take the first one enough that it hurts, but I managed to survive, and yeah, that's why I really like holding in this connector. You're close enough that you can come back and defend from the spy or their push, and you know, react in time more or less. But you can also stop them from pushing from E. So it does like two things. Like, I'm close enough that I can contribute to the team from a push from their spawn, but I also more or less just deny them any push from E. More or less. Yeah, so like this, like, yeah, that elbow, that's the best place that I've ever found to play pyro on this map. And I don't think it's even really close. Right, so now they take B and we like pretty much wipe again. But they have to wait for the door to open, right? You see? And that looks suspicious, so I check. But the pyro's here, so kind of caught out. So that wasn't too bad. Alright, so pretty much I'm going to stick with the combo. We're going to just get set up here. And that was very obviously a spy. And they're going to start to come through. And what I need to do now is just make sure I don't die. So I can do something when they crits in. Well, when they crits in, we just have to back off. But after they crits in, we can reply. And really, Torn needs to be with us right now. Because they're kind of getting this point for free. And that looks like a spy, yeah. Right, so they're doing some pressure on E. But, you know, as part of the combo, don't really care. Let our flank classes take care of that. I mean, this is a pretty good sniper sightline, so makes sense that he's here with us. And in any case, like, if they really do put good pressure on E, I just go down through the lower door there, and I'm there pretty quick, can contribute. So like now they're keeping pressure on it. And that was kind of unfortunate for me. To get the mini crit though, and there. I didn't realize they rotated around like that. But they are starting to feel the pressure now. With a minute 20 left. Doesn't look like they can just go around capping each point all that well. They really need to put pressure on E. And I really shouldn't be running the home wrecker, I'm not doing anything with it. Now I'm just trying to get, you know, as much damage as possible out on their combo.
Mission ends in 30 seconds.
Yeah, without C, it's a hard cap on E. And there I see the spy. Oh, I missed that flare, I'm terrible.
Mission ends in 10 seconds.
And yeah, that's the round.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If that round had been a bit longer, I would have had that for sure. I know their demo would have tried harder, but I still would have had him.
Mission begins in 60 seconds.
Yeah, so one of the things we learned for scrimming this map was that for us, like, we were putting a lot of more pressure on A and B at the same time when we were out of the initial spawn. That didn't really work for us.
Mission begins.
Putting more people just directly onto A, you know, it worked a lot better. And because we were changing our minds kind of last minute on this map, Cope doesn't know what's happening. He's asking who's going B.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I could go B. Like that'd be like a decent enough class to do it. Especially with the detonator. Well, because of the detonator more or less. Alright, so now we pop, and they just instantly back out. So I mean, okay, and then they counter pop. Air blasting off of that was kind of weird, like, on the first one the stickies didn't really go out so much, as kind of stayed in place, moved around a bit. I don't know. Definitely should air blast it the second time. Okay, now I think we're going to just go down, drop down. Yeah. And they don't even have a sentry up. Okay, and so I did two things there. Like, I saw the scout going past me, which I didn't figure would be a big deal with their heavy there, so I just went straight at the sentry. And then because the scout got onto our med, I went back and replied to that. I don't know, that was kind of, probably didn't really have to, and that was, yeah. Spy disguises their own, kind of tunnel visioned. And now the Ubers and crits are being exchanged. And of course Uber beats crits in that situation, or well, almost every situation. And that was just not looking around. Yeah, tunnel vision twice. So now I'm going to be extra careful. I know, usually, yeah. Some pressure on E, that's probably Cobes, it's 2 times. But more or less the whole team's here. I'm going to go straight from B to C. Not sure why Tomatoes, Torn is backed up so much. It doesn't quite have Uber, so that's part of it. I don't know if you can. You should be able to make that jump, especially with the power jack. But instead I went around. And yeah, there's a lot of spam that they're able to put out from, you know, from the point over to this ledge. So it's tough, but now we have to basically wait for Tomatoes for Heavy to get back, and then we can push. Because now we're going to have Uber. Yeah, so now we can push. Keeping pressure on E. It's good. We're kind of delaying, not committing to this push. More or less could, even though we dropped some people. Yeah, now we do. Didn't quite get around that corner fast enough. Their scut's pretty decent though. Yeah, so this was a bit of a failed push. But we're still in it. And we're just going to try and spam down their sentry, I think. Well, Nyquil is. They're just going to make sure that their spy can't get, make an easy walk into us. Alright, their Heavy I think goes down. So that's pretty good. Their pyro was lit, so I didn't have to try and do a combo. You can get crit flares on pyros, you just can't air blast them. And now I'm ultra paranoid about the spy because we're at 100% Uber. And we're looking to make this push. Best time for the spy to go and make a pick. Yeah, so now I'm kind of concentrating a bit too much, I think, on the spawn doors. I should be just looking the other way, making sure the spy doesn't get around. But it looks like we're more or less going to get to D for free. They're trying to do like same thing as last time, where they kind of just wrapped around us. But that really didn't work for them anyways. I don't know, maybe they weren't. Yeah, they're just more or less conceding it until they could get their Uber, or crits in this case, yeah. But we have our Uber, so that's a pretty easy win for us in that fight. And yeah, anyway, it's useful. It's actually a pretty good flare gun. And yeah, he should have, yeah, that was unfortunate for the spy. He could have had me easily. we've got a lot of caps, cap points on E. Not a great time, but still decent. And yeah, flares just, my reflex just not where they should be.
Mission begins in 60 seconds.
Yeah, probably not that much of a needed suicide, but you know, helps out anyways.
Mission begins in 30 seconds.
I'm gonna go back to the homeworker, but running the homeworker really didn't do much for me. And I don't think I'm going to run it on process much anymore at all. Except for on B. On B it's good.
Mission begins in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3,
At least for the way I play.
1.
That was one of the nice things, like I was able to do more flanky kind of stuff. Less combo intensive on this map. Although I was still with the combo a lot. I mean, I like to play with the combo. It's pretty much the most effective place for pyro to be, more or less.
Alert. Our control point is being captured.
Yeah, I didn't play that one well at all.
Alert. Our control point is being captured.
I think Tomatoes was focused in because we definitely called the spy. So now we talk about just going in on this, defending. Torn definitely shouldn't. Med has to stay up. But like we saw before, it wouldn't necessarily be that bad for like some of our classes that aren't as important to go. Yeah, so now we gotta pause. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely can't have the med go in there, you know, when it's kind of a lost cause like that. Yeah, that's a kind of predictable spy route to take. Okay, my goal there is just make sure he doesn't get the health pack. And it's kind of risky to go in against a sniper like that. But, I don't know. It's not... At this level, it's not that bad, at least. Definitely, if a sniper, like, I learn to respect him, I'm not going to do it.
The final control point is being contested.
But actually, this... I really like running the detonator now on this point. That was kind of a premature pop. I know he didn't want to drop, but it's kind of like a drop anyways if you use the Uber like that. I mean, it's not quite as bad, but it's almost. But I do like, yeah, don't feed rockets to pyro from the point. Um, I like running the detonator actually on B now. I really do think that detonator and power homewrecker are like kind of like the things you have to run on this point. Well, don't have to, but it's the best results you'll get with them. Oh, and now they're going to pause. The reason that they're so good to run is because with the detonator actually, it lets you harass the classes that are on the point. So it's far enough away that anyone that's good enough will probably evade your flare. But it's a lot harder to evade the detonator just because it's an area that's a lot bigger. So it's pretty good to run. And the homewrecker just so you can contribute and help out with the sentry. It's kind of at the limit, but you can get there if they call up the spy before he saps. If he does sap, you're probably going to get there too late before they say anything. But in any case, the only time you really need to make a contribution with the homewrecker is probably when your NG goes down, and then that's most likely to happen when they're pushing in from their spawn anyways. I'm going to speed that up. It was sort of a longish pause. Their med dropped for some reason. And that should be their sub coming in. And there I used the E spawn door just because it's I knew where they were from the calls. Instead of going around through B, it was just faster to go to E spawn door and actually do something that way. So yeah, there I pay for my aggressive positioning. It never gets best of me, but I've been just keeping him on the periphery so much that I don't even really care. Yeah, so now I'm going to go back to my elbow. They're really worried about the time, so they're just trying to go for E. So they're not fully committing to it. It's hard for them to fully commit to E. Because the only way they can really... It's hard for them to push for me. Because I'm there. And now they're going to crits on the... their scout, so... The Uber comes in, Torn does a great job there, responding. There wasn't really much for me to go after, so I don't overextend, just make sure that we can keep our hold up. But with a minute 30, considering how hard it is for them to actually get onto the point, now we're just talking about kind of switching our defense over just to E. Because we really don't need to hold B anymore. And buffer there, just a little unlucky because of how little health the scout had.
Mission ends in 60 seconds.
You know, so now we're more or less transitioning to just defending E because that's their only option. It's not clear to me if that was like a suicide to avoid the backstab. That's a very obvious spy. And that's just, you know, giving up on the game. I mean, it's over, really.
Mission ends in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Victory.
Yeah, and that was our UGC Steel match.